Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cosmic Owl Astrology with Louise Edington. I am the Wisdom Weaver and Cyberpunk Witch Priestess to the stars. And I'm going to talk to you about the solstice today. This is kind of a follow-up to the Sagittarius New Moon video that I did because I'm recording this on the 18th and the new moon is tomorrow at 28 Sagittarius, and it's immense, and some more stuff has come through. And one thing I do want to say before I share the chart, well, first of all, I've been away, all these downloads have come through, this new moon is on my ascendant, it's like information coming through. I do want to say, please, make sure you subscribe to this channel and give it a thumbs up, hopefully, or a thumbs down. All attention's good, and maybe leave me a comment because it really does help. The algorithms, as somebody called them. I thought that was kind of funny, but anyway, so I'm really trying to focus on growing this channel in the coming year. I've got a couple of really good interviews coming up, one's later today with a client of mine who has been doing some really interesting research, Kat Collette. So look for that when I get that uploaded. And then tomorrow early, I'm actually interviewing the author of the book Yuga Shift, to talk about his theory that the Kali Yuga ended back in March, right on the Venus star point, incidentally. So, and a couple of big things coming up next year. I'm putting together a series workshop. That's going to be March 6th and 7th, I believe. So watch this space for that. And then we also have a Venus retrograde in October, and I will be running my Venus retrograde heroines journey class for the 6th time. They started in 2017. They're only every 19 months because that's when Venus is retrograde, and each one gets bigger and bigger. But this one's going to be special as well. Each one is special in its own way, but this one is going to be special because it's the last Venus star point in Scorpio in our lifetimes. So not only have we got all these other things shifting, like Neptune is going to leave Pisces for the last time in our lifetimes, and Pluto left Capricorn for the last time in our lifetimes, and we are in unprecedented times astrologically and everywhere else. But the other thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to share the solstice chart as I talk, and the solstice is when the sun gets to 0 Cancer or 0 Capricorn. Of course, 0 Capricorn is the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, and it's the summer solstice in the south. So I do want to acknowledge our well, we're definitely not in 2023, are we? This is wild times, honestly. But one thing I do want to mention that really is that Christmas is based around the solstice. Okay, the old pagan kind of celebration of the solstice, where the sun, the Son of God, really, literally stands still for 3 days. Okay, so yes, it got moved on the calendar to December the 25th, but this was Christmas. And we have Santa at Christmas, right? And Jupiter is often known as Santa. And here we have this solstice event on December the 21st. You can see the time, 10:03 a.m. Eastern. I just set it for Eastern because that's where we're at. And so this is kind of Christmas. And I was just listening to Stefan Burns this morning, and he's that geophysicist who knows some astrology and things as well. And he's talked about 3i Atlas again, as always. Now, 3i Atlas, this interstellar object, which is comet-like in many ways, was first spotted back on July the 1st, 2025, in the constellation of Sagittarius A, near the galactic center, which I should put on here. So let me put the galactic center on, and as I record this, we have a new moon conjunct the galactic center. And the galactic center is like a defragger. Okay, it kind of sends out waves of new information, clears out our hard drive, and makes space for this new stuff that's coming in. So, interstellar object, 3i Atlas, they're still kind of guessing about where it came from. It may have been a comet that was going around another star. That's kind of what he was talking about this morning. We don't really know. But anyway, it came in. It's in Sagittarius A. It's closest to Earth on December the 19th on the new moon. The Sagittarius New Moon. So we had Sagittarius A, Sagittarius New Moon, and then it will fly by Jupiter on its way out of our solar system, and Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is often called Santa. Why is that relevant? Because solstice, and when it was first spotted, it was red, and then it turned green, and now it's turning gold. And here we have those three colors kind of Santa, of Christmas, right? This is just like, I think this just is, I don't know what it's bringing in yet, but all of this is so, is it bringing us Christmas gifts? Is it bringing us good things? There is a possibility that it turning gold means it will break up, which means it could, turn into kind of like mini meteors and things. It's quite far away, so I think we're fine. But the other thing is, I did want to mention, and I'm going to go back to the new moon first of all, December the 19th. Then we'll look at the solstice chart, because I am primarily an astrologer, but I can't ignore all these big things. I had heard somebody say that 3i Atlas is very near the south node on this new moon. Now, from what I can find, I've tried to look on sky maps of where it is and things, but the gate god Google just tells me that today, 18th, interstellar comet 3i Atlas is in the constellation of Leo. Signs and constellations are different, near the bright star Regulus. Okay. And so the constellation of Leo would have it in the zodiac sign of Virgo. Here's fixed star Regulus. Here is the south node. So not only is this new moon on the galactic center degree, there's the galactic center with the triple moon goddess Hecate conjunct 3i Atlas, Santa, green, red, green, gold, so closely associated with Sagittarius and Jupiter, which is the sign of truth and knowledge and expansion in many, many ways, is somewhere over here related to the zodiac. Of course, it doesn't sit on the zodiac, it's way further out, but what you would do is drop a line from where it is down to the zodiac. So yes, it's very much connected to the south node, but it's also very close to Regulus. Now, if you've been watching me for a while, you will know that Regulus moved from our perspective into the sign of Virgo at the end of 2011 after an age, because it each fixed star from our perspective, because we're moving, we're in this galaxy that's spiraling, and and we're spiraling with other galaxies. And anyway, moved out from the sign of Leo after an astrological age. Each fixed star from our perspective spends the length of an astrological age in a sign. So at the end of 2011, Regulus moved into the sign of Virgo from our perspective. Virgo is the constellation or sign of priestess energy, whole unto oneself, more humble, more service oriented. We're moving into some very different times. Like after what's 72 times? Oh gosh, I should have done these things. I thought I had these in my head. We got back late last night, and I've been awake since early going, oh my god, all these ideas. So anyway, 2160 years in the sign of Leo, approximately, because it's not exactly 72 years to move a degree, it's approximately that. And so that's an astrological age. So here 3i Atlas is. I'm not exactly what degree it will sit on the ecliptic as it moves closest to Earth, but it's very close to Regulus. It's very close to the South Node. It's square to Mercury, which is the messenger, the psychopomp, but it's bringing in more truth. Mercury is square the nodes. And so, it's what a time. So do you get kind of what I'm saying? It's like everything's converging on this new moon, this solstice, the sun still point, no matter which thing you're in. And they're immutable signs turning us into this new age. Just everything is kind of just wildly coming together. But let's bring it, so that's kind of the bigger picture, but let's move to this solstice. Okay, so the solstice is the moment the sun moves into Capricorn. As I said, the winter solstice in this hemisphere, where most astrology was based, because a lot of it was founded in the East. The big star from the East, if you like, the Sumerians, the Babylonians, and things like that. Of course, there was Aboriginal cosmologies and things going back centuries and centuries and centuries. But I'm going to speak more to the Northern Hemisphere. So I just want you to look at this lineup. So 3i Atlas, this is only 2 days after this new moon. 3i Atlas is still going to be around here somewhere. Mars is at 4 degrees Capricorn. Venus is catching up to the sun slowly. We're heading towards the superior or exterior Venus cazimi. The sun is catching up to Mars. They are going to be cazimi soon. Mercury will come up. We're going to have a Mercury cazimi. The personal planets are all lining up. By the solstice, the moon has moved 17 degrees past the sun, so it's still not really gaining light. We're still in this new moon phase or no moon phase. So we're in this kind of dark no moon where new truth is just downloading over and over and over, right? Mercury on the solstice is at the degree where the sun was on the Gemini full moon. That was exactly square to the nodes. This turning point we're in is just immense. Look at this as well, though. Juno is our sacred contracts with each other. She is another asteroid, of course, but she is conjunct the galactic center. All this new truth is coming in about who we are, how we live on the earth, and how we relate to ourselves and others and to truth. So this is bigger than what's going on in Washington, D.C., or the politics or things like that. We are being given this massive, massive new upgrade. There's Hecate as well at the same time on the degree of the new moon, 28 degrees Sag. Hecate is that crossroads. We're at this crossroads. We're at this crisis point. We're at this turning point. The true meaning of crisis is crossroads. And we are moving forward. By this point, the moon is conjunct Vesta, both the inner flame and the hearth of the state. States really could collapse with all this, but I'm not concerned. It's kind of got to shake out because all of this is insane. By this 21st as well, we're supposed to have had these Epstein files released, but things are coming out from various other places anyway. And I think we're going to find that it's huge. You know, this is not just about the apparent occupant of the White House. Okay. And to even talk about how we're leaving that Leo with Regulus, where 3i Atlas is in many ways. You know, it's kind of this end stage of the age here where, you know, he's blitzed up the White House. It's gold tat everywhere. And that's very Leo, where 3i Atlas is in the constellation of Leo. It's kind of like, let's, like, you know, have this big greed, power grab, everything. But really, money's an illusion anyway. And I do think it's all going to shake out. Everybody's going to wake up. I do think people are going to realize we cannot live like this any longer. People in general, humanity, and we are going to start changing because our consciousness is exploding. This is our mind. This is not just our mind. This is this big, big upgrade. I was listening to my friend Steve Judd this morning, and he was saying he's seen more people kind of like tapping into their intuitive, knowing their psychic abilities, if you like, more telepathic. It's happening, you know. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of like getting messages all the flipping time. And it's all going to happen in each of us, and we're all going to kind of start to come together. Now, other things I notice on this immense solstice, as well as this lineup on the galactic center, incidentally, of divine feminine, if you want to call it that, which is beyond women as well. You know, this is about recognizing that the yin matters as much as the yang. Okay. So, you know, people will say, oh, women will rise up. And I think, yes, but it's more than that. You know, I think our perspectives are being blown open. Like, this is very mutable signs too. Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. All of this is square to Neptune, about to leave Pisces for the last time in our lifetimes, but Saturn at the same time, pretty much. This is just the biggest shift that we've seen, that we know of in human history, or the history of the planet even. It's just massive. And I'm trying to kind of make it kind of somewhat real for you, but it's just, oh my God. Anyway, so at the same time as on this solstice, Pluto is, you know, moving nice and fast now, moving forward, moving towards another square with Haumea, which is regeneration and birth, Chariklo, the spinner of grace, and the helping us to weave the new future, is conjunct Pallas Athena, the strategist, who is kind of like Alice in Wonderland. She can see things from different angles and pull all the pieces together. We have asteroid Lilith here, talk to the hand, coming up to that north node where they're moving towards each other. Nessus is still there, kind of revealing all the toxicity, the poisons and things. In a more mundane, you cannot make this thing. I've got this long-term client who has a heated floor in his house, in his office, and the heat was interacting with the flooring they put on, creating a toxic gas, and he was getting really sick, and he thought he got flu and things. That's very Piscean, Neptunian, by the way, gases. But it's also like the gases coming off 3i Atlas, you know? But, if 3i Atlas is here somewhere at this time of year, asteroid Lilith, talk to the hand, is opposing it, saying, yeah, I hear you. No, we can't do this anymore. Talk to the hand. We're not doing this. We're moving on. So much more I could say, but Uranus is at 28 degrees still. When it got to 0 Gemini, it was square to Regulus. So I think these fixed stars moving signs are a real big deal. There's another one involved as well. But all of these things, how do I don't know how to, other than to just blow your mind and just say, there's this, and try and sum it up. So I'm going to sum it up, or I'm going to show you one other star, but I am going to sum all of this up as this massive explosion in our consciousness. Okay, this is happening really fast, and it's really big. So this is another fixed star, Altair. Altair is to do with ideals and vision. It was actually at the end of Capricorn when the founding fathers created the Constitution and all of that in the USA. But now it's in Aquarius. Again, it's conjunct Pluto. And again, even though it's bigger than just the USA, I've long said that the Constitution is going to be completely rewritten. Well, I still think it is, and in fact, it may encompass many different things, countries, or maybe we won't have countries anymore. Anyway, let me just talk about Altair a little bit, just to add to you. Regulus is known as the royal star. Of course, it was named Regulus by humans when it was in Leo, from our perspective. Now it's in Virgo. Maybe we need to rename some of these things too. I've been talking about changing the language we use in astrology. Maybe we do need to, but anyway. So in astrology, Altair, the bright star in Aquila, the eagle, USA, signifies boldness, ambition, courage, and leadership. Okay. So key meanings for the fixed star Altair, although I do think we're going to kind of expand our understanding of all these things. All of this is based on a very different perspective and view. But anyway, so key meanings are strength and action linked to the eagle, powerful will, decisive action, and a warrior-like drive to reach goals. Honor and status often brings public honor, favors from superiors, and advancement if well placed. Boldness makes individuals daring, independent, and outspoken, can lead to foolhardiness, potential pitfalls, envious rivals, blah, blah, blah. But, since we kind of discovered these things, Altair changed signs. Altair is in the sign of the future now, Aquarius. It's in the sign of air. It's in the sign of the collective, humanitarian. Aquarius, I think we're going to have to expand our understanding of Aquarius too as we move into the age of Aquarius. This is, where we are headed. Signs and ages, yes, they're different, but the energy of Aquarius is the same, right? And look at it. conjunct Pluto again and again for a while. And I haven't got the date that Altair changed signs, but it's my belief that some of these fixed stars changing signs combined with our consciousness becoming aware of the presence of Uranus, then Ceres, then the other asteroids, or the asteroids, Pallas, Athena, Vesta, Juno, and then more, and then the centaurs, and then Neptune, and all these Kuiper belt objects, and now these Oort cloud objects. We didn't know they existed, and now we do. All of this is shifting us into this explosion of consciousness. It's just like our heads are blowing their lids off. And then the centaurs, they came in, starting with Chiron in 1977, and then his wife, Chariklo, was discovered in 1997. Then this is their daughter, Okiroe. That's like the divine trinity of, the god, the goddess, and the divine child being reborn. Okiroe is said to have seer-like qualities. Sideways from Saturn, the book is now available in ebook from Praesepe Press, Praesepe. That's got some essays on these centaurs, but I think our understanding of them is also going to explode. Anyway, I think I've said enough. I kind of wanted to check back in with you. Now I'm back from my trip, and I had an amazing solar return and birthday and lots of fun. I was a bit out of time, if you like, but that's good because I was really switched off to a degree. To just say that this new moon is wild, and this solstice is wild. This period is like Christmas, but a big Christmas to humanity if we're listening. Santa's here, bringing gifts, and will we accept them? I don't know. I've got lots more to talk about. There's so much happening over this season. But in the Northern Hemisphere, on that solstice, that's like a new year because the light returns. We move towards longer days in the north, and in south you move towards shorter days. I'll be back later with the week ahead forecast. Love you.